Hi, my name is Katherine Skaggs, and I am the artist of the Mythical Goddess Tarot and an intuitive tarot reader, as well as many other things. But I'm here today to talk to you about June. What are the energies of June coming in, June 2021? What support can we get to help grow our gardens, the gardens of our lives, our hopes and dreams, as we compost the old forms that do not serve us anymore? That theme has been up for the last year, for the last years, and for a cycle of 25,000 years or more, is that we're composting old energies. We're having to address the shadows within and all around us so that we can bring the light in, so that we can grow into more harmonious patterns. I like being a cosmic cheerleader, but it's been rough. It hasn't been easy to be a cosmic cheerleader. I've kind of sucked at it over the last couple of months or longer. And so having to look at alchemy, how do we alchemize and bring light into our human journey, to bring our spiritual selves into the challenges, the ups and downs that we ride? And particularly as we come into this time of growing, our dreams, we're having a compost and we're needing to really honor that process. So I want to know what June has for us to support us, to help us to be honest with ourselves, to help us to be kind and compassionate toward ourselves, so that we can bring that into the rest of our lives. Because when we're challenged, it can be kind of difficult to really embody those things. So the goddesses, I'm asking, we're going to do a 15 card spread today so that we can take a look at the energies of the month, as well as how that looks into the bigger pattern, what we want in our lives personally and collectively. We're doing a lot of work collectively, everybody, archetypally. So you got your personal theme going on, but that is within the context of our relations to all our kin here, the mycelium of our lives, the connectivity of you and your family, you and your neighbors, your beloveds, and all those people you don't even know, that we are working singularly but also collectively. So there's a lot up. All right. So what do we need to know as we move into the month of June? Well, I've got some cards I haven't seen for a while, and some that I have. So alchemy, I mentioned alchemy already. This is the time. This is Bridget, and she's in our major arcana. She's the art card or the alchemy card. And this is about taking, I've mentioned this before recently, turning lead into gold. As we move into June, we really have had a lot of challenges coming into this time. But what's really cool is that we're very resourceful and creative beings. That's what this card's telling us, is that from our higher selves, we can take anything, no matter how challenging it's been, how kind of like not completely perfect it's been, and we can add some creativity. We can add spirit to our earthly lives, and we can turn it into something else. We can get the gold out of life as we look at it from another perspective, from a higher perspective, and we bring light to it. We bring the magic of spirit to our lives. So this is up. This tells me that this is who we are, that we have been coming through a lot of challenges, and that it's time to own up that we're creative and we can shapeshift anything in our lives as long as we're willing to be creative and open and bring in love and compassion and magic and different perspectives, so that it's not just one thing, that it's a much bigger spiritual picture in our earthly life. So that's who we are, that we're pretty magical, creative, and able to be alchemists. The other thing coming into June is that we need to look at how we are in tribe and community. We need to claim our community. We need to be grateful for our friends, our beloveds, our community, even the community at large that seems pretty extreme at times, and it seems like we're different from one another. But we need to gather our inner circle, and we need to be in ceremony. We need to get out on the earth and work with our allies of our plants and our animals, as well as our human being friends and allies and our spiritual friends in the heavenly or invisible worlds. We need to gather and realize that that's a very important piece as we move through June, is to have that support system, to grow our dreams, both spiritually and physically. This is an Earth card, the Nine of Earth, and it is absolutely about gathering. I got to do that this last week. I got to be part of a women's retreat and do soul portraits, and it was so refreshing to be in person again, to be on some land, to do a fire ceremony and storytelling. It was just absolutely healing for me to be with these women, as well it was for them. So find your community and let that be part of what supports you as you move through this next month, to return home to a part of yourself that's completely supported, and gather up the community of all the different aspects of who you are. There's many parts of you. Your soul is vast. So honor all those parts as you return home to some parts of yourself that really need to be encircled together. All right, the other card that's here is Crow Woman. She's another major arcana or higher perspective from your soul self from the heavenly realms. And she's sacred law. She's a card of mystery and a balance. She's got that Libra energy in there. And Crow Woman, being sacred law, she is all about what is heavenly yours is coming to earth. And her being in the introduction here, the first three cards that have to do with who you are in regards to the question, like what does June have for us that we need to know, is going to help us with living in harmony and manifesting what we truly desire, is that all your heavenly goodies, so to speak, your brownies, are always waiting to come into cycle here. And she tells me that through meditation, through shamanic journey spaces, through, going outside of linear time, is that you've got a lot of magic and mystery here that's wanting to help you bring into balance all your soul's gifts, all the blessings that would like to come in, and to bring them to earth. It also says that if there's any business that you have to take care of from a spiritual perspective, some people call it karma. Well, that can be good, positive energy. It can also be challenges for you to clear out old misunderstandings and come to peace, come to harmony. You may have that come up this month, so don't shy away from challenges. Face the challenges and go into the mystery and look for the healing where it is. Call on Crow Woman to help bring divine law into your life. What that also means is, we've got man's laws. We've got these rules and regulations that we've set up in this world that are morality or to keep us safe, different things in the human realm that help us, usually, not always, hopefully have equality in this world and a way to live together. Well, these are spiritual laws that this represents. So look to the higher wisdom, to universal laws and truths. Are you living in harmony with spirit and the universe? Because this is something that is very important as we move into this next month to help us to alchemize our lives, to get the gold out of them. This is like a support card to that first card we pulled. And so look at this in yourself and in your life so that you can embrace divine law and look at its workings everywhere. It always is a higher law than man's laws. And go back to that. That will be a good reset for you if you've been having challenges. I always go back to that. If things are out of harmony with me, it's like, what do I really need to know about spiritual truth, spiritual law, my heart, and coming back into harmony with that so that I can act out of that perspective or come back and do healing from that perspective if I feel like I've been out of balance. And also to call others into that, to meet you there. That's where the true healing happens. All right, what's the big picture for the month? Oh, we've got a lot of major arcana, a lot of divine support and directives going on. It doesn't surprise me in the reset that we are with humanity. So here we have White Buffalo Calf Woman right in the center of the big picture. She is my go-to mama. She is this card of sacred fire. She's Leo energy, but she is this beautiful Native American goddess woman who brought the peace pipe. She's the symbol of rectification, purification of our human foibles, of our fears, of the things that keep us separate from love, of the things that cause us to push away from one another or blame one another or just not be the most light-filled person. She calls us to purification. She says, if this month is going to be one where it's time to pick up the peace pipe and offer it to yourself and offer it to your fellow human, to your friends, your beloveds, to your family, and to those you don't know. It's time to purify your heart, to put the anger in the fire, to put the but they did this in the fire, to put all that ugly human stuff in the fire, to lift it up to light, to lift it up to love. She calls us to, she brought 7 purification rites, and she absolutely tells us to get out of lust. Now, I don't mean just sexually, lust for greed in our lives, or jealousy, or any of the things that we want something just finite and physical, and we miss the essence or the spirit of life. So she calls us into sacred ceremony for our personal lives and our life as a ceremonial adventure for our soul. So that she's calling us home to the fire of purification. Card next to her is another fire card, is the Two of Fire, and she's the centering card. So it tells me this month is not only about purification, but it's time to come back to our inner light and to focus on what's most important, to meditate, to walk in nature, to be in that fire ceremony where we reflect and look within, where we find that in that centered place with spirit, then we can navigate anything in our outer worlds. That no matter how challenging human life may be in its ups and downs, that if we've got that centered spiritual place focused on the light, that we can return to that place where we can create through nothing but love and light. So it's time to take time for yourself, to sit in the sun, to sit in the light as you purify yourself of thoughts and emotions and physical toxins and any spiritual toxins. I don't even, belief systems that really don't work for creating harmony anymore. So purification, coming back home, centering in your heart and in the light, and taking time to be in the sun. Amaterasu, the sun, the physical sun, the outer sun, but also your inner light. It's time to return home, that you're the one who lights up your life. Amaterasu is this beautiful sun goddess who reminds us that at times there are storms in our lives and we go in the caves and we don't want to come out. What happens is the world goes dark when that happens. And there comes a time when we need to lighten up and return. So this month is about returning to the light. It's coming out of the cave, being purified, and all 3 of these cards about fire and light. Bringing the light from heaven to earth, bringing the light from within out into every part of yourselves. So I think this is a great way to look at the month, is this is about coming into the light, which is like, yay, let's do that. Let's do that individually and collectively. So what are our challenges as we are moving through these new cycles of June? I've got 2 earth cards here in the challenges, as well as 1 fire card. And right in the center, the challenges are like the lessons. These are our opportunities of the next month that we get to meet in ourselves and the world around us. So we need to do some work. This works card, the 3 of Earth, is a Capricorn card in Aries. And it's like the fire of spirit coming all the way into the physical. And that it's going to require us to tend our gardens. It's like you plant your garden. Guess what? You got to weed your garden. You got to water your garden. You got to make sure that there's no rodents getting in there, eating everything up. And so it takes some work. You need to tend to everything. But this, look at this woman. She's dancing. She's dancing spirit in all the way down into the physical. And she's telling us, hey, have some fun as you create your life. Maybe we ought to take the term works and just say creation. But it's going to take some effort. So that's going to be your homework or your challenge, is to be mindful of doing whatever is required to bring your hopes and dreams into the physical, and to give it some time, give it some effort, give it some attention, because then you're going to have what you truly desire in the outcome. But at times you may be tired. At times you may not know what to do or how to do it, but just show up and it will show itself. Right next to that card, I want to mention this one next. It's another Earth card, and it's the Manipulation card. It's a Five of Earth, and it's Taurus and Venus, I think, if I can read that card right. And you'll notice it shows a woman with a hand above her with strings, where she's being manipulated by something outside of herself. So, I look at this card in a couple of ways. When it shows up in the challenges, it says, pay attention to who's in your life and if they're pulling your strings and if you're letting them. Or pay attention to the belief systems and the old patterns that you have where you manipulate yourself. It's the places where you use language, well, like but I don't have time, but they got in my way, but they did this to me. Well, if that comes up in the way you feel or in your language, it's time to cut the cords to that belief system. Then you can evaluate if you need to cut the cords with a job or a person or where you live, that you need some change for you to be able to really bring your hopes and dreams in to purify yourself. This is what's up that can really mess you up at times, is that these are patterns, because this is an earth card, that are already in the physical that you're dealing with. So you need to face them. If you want to purify your life, you need to purify any way in your life where you've manipulated yourself or allowed others to do that to you, or the world at large. It might be watching the news and going, oh my God, those people on the left or those people on the right or those people, or that president or whatever it happens to be, is that this can be really something that flips us out if we are putting blame anywhere outside ourselves. Somewhere deep inside, we need to attend to however we've manifested the things that manipulate us. So we need to throw them in the fire, and we need to be honest and face them so that we can be free once again. So that's the opportunity. With every lesson in every school of life, there's always an opportunity to become wise and masterful. All right. And that one can be a challenging one, but it tells me that we've got some good things that we're going to do. Now, right next to those, I think this is the perfect card. This is the Eight of Fire expression. Oh, there goes the dogs. And it's Aries in Sag. So this is fiery. This is, as you're challenged to bring your work through in the world, as you're challenged to let go of things that are already in form, where you need to cut cords, you need to free yourself up to be yourself again, is that the other lesson or the challenge is dance. Express yourself. Take time to play. Take time to go paint or sing or go dancing, or how is you really sing your song and let that come through your body and let that come through your spirit, that you're truly inspired to be you. And if you're letting go of old form where you felt tangled up with life, tangled up with circumstances, it feels like it can be hard to really express yourself. So it's important. Examine how you can really be you this month and claim that back. This is time for us as we purify to come home to ourselves. Our quirkiness, our funniness, our wildness, our moodiness, every part of ourselves. How do you love and express yourself? But allow that fire of your passion to be part of the purification, that as you express yourself, you're being freed up from all the limiting beliefs, thoughts, fears, and traumas that have held you captive to not being you. It's time to come home. This purification and alchemy is really important, that, as we express ourselves, that we can forgive the past, burn it away, make it something sacred, and honor that in ourselves and the world around us, so that we can really come back to peace again and happiness and joy. All right, so what do you do? How do you enact this in your lives? What's the process? All right, so the action is what's next, and Kali's in the center. So purification, coming back to the sacredness in yourself, centering, being the light, cutting the cords to what doesn't work for you within you and all around you, so you can be free to be yourself. it requires death. This is the West in the medicine wheel. This is Kali. The Kali Yuga is the time we're in, a big cycle of releasing old egoic structures that don't work for us. This is the time of cutting our egos off, the heads off. You know, Kali is this great Hindu goddess that is revered as a protective goddess. She's actually purity, but she's got this fierce persona. She comes in and helps us be ruthless at cutting off the head of our egos so that we can come back to our heart spaces. That to be purified, we have to let these harsh things die in a manner that we're not holding on to the finite. We're returning to the spiritual, the essence in all of life, in this world that is infinite, that you're infinite, that your relationships are infinite, that this journey is an infinite dream of waking up. So, what do you need to actually let go of or clean up? So, this can be the death of a job, the death of a situation, the death of a relationship, so that you can be renewed in how you do a job and how you do a relationship and how you do your body or your life. It's a big situation and a big ask here to have trust and faith that as you let go of what's not working, is that new life will be born, that with death comes birth, that with letting go comes new opportunities and harmony, that your willingness to purify, compost the old, so that new form can come in that's born of greater understanding, of greater love and capacity to love and be loved. So it takes a lot of courage. So I invite Kali in to help us, to help you, to help me, to purify with White Buffalo Calf Woman so that we can just surrender to the greater good that we are here to experience. And right next to that is the integrity card. So, what do you need to be in spirit with, integrity with, to bring heaven to earth, to really know that you're being honest with yourself, that you're bringing that into your life, that you're clearing fear, that you're doing your best to show up with yourself and others in the most high manner possible. That in this earthly world, there's this reflection of integrity, but are you in integrity with your spirit? And are you bringing that into earth? This goes along with death. Anything that you're not in integrity with within yourself, it's time to compost that and to know it's okay to forgive it and to move on so you can be in greater alignment with your spirit, your heart. If you're doing something that your heart's not in, then you need to go back and give it to Kali and give it to White Buffalo Calf Woman to be purified so you can have the courage to do what makes you happy. Then you can be happy and kinder and healthier in all your relations and all your efforts to work in this world and to be, there's one of my babies coming in, to truly be at peace and enjoy. So these two cards are perfect to go next together for what is at hand for us. All right, then we have Sophia, the wise woman. She's considered the Shekinah and the mother of God. And so she brings wisdom in. She's pregnant with the Christ light. She's pregnant with the golden light of wisdom. And she's here to help us to really, to come into wisdom. You often have to go through difficult times. You got to go through things where you didn't understand. You got to go through things where you've got to sit back and you got to look at it. You got to feel into it. You've got to ask for guidance and get a different perspective. Because if we've created things that don't feel good or they didn't come out so well, it's okay. So the path to mastery is a lot of experience. It's a lot of trying. It's a lot of doing. It's a lot of having something almost okay or not okay, but also being able to sit with it and say, well, this worked and that didn't work, and just being honest without being critical. And that takes a lot in this world, because we judge things all day long in our human selves. So ask Sophia to come in to help you to look at as things die and you're working on being in integrity so you're happy, so you're true to yourself, so you can be true to all your relations and to everything you choose, is that with that comes the opportunity to really, as you compost and die to the old, what is the gold that you get from it? So be grateful as you look at your life, and if something didn't go so well or it was kind of okay, sit back and be willing to compost so that you're honoring yourself, but also transcend criticism and right and wrong and say, what were the blessings in these experiences? What's the gold? How can I honor this as sacred? This relationship is sacred. This job is sacred. This family is sacred. This experience is sacred. And that way you'll truly work on being the wise one that will have greater wisdom on how you choose in the future and just how you can live in greater peace. Okay, what's our outcome if we can embrace these energies and walk this path as what's being guided here to meet the challenges, to rise above, to transform them? What it tells me is that we have 3 cards, 2 earth cards. Got a lot of earth cards today, it seems. The Maiden Beauty, she's another Capricorn card. So she's about really moving to that place as we come through this month. And it's beautiful here where I live in Colorado, this part of the world, in Northern America, is that, the earth is beautiful right now. It's not just physical beauty for the month of June. This is about embracing as we come through this, returning to the beauty walk, our walk on earth, that we're earth beings, but we're also souls, we're spirits, we're light in form on earth. And this is a beauty walk when you purify it and you return home to that place where you can see the beauty in the world and within yourself. So this time has the opportunity to return us to our relationship with the planet, our relationship with being in a body, being human, and seeing the beauty around us and being in harmony with it once again. So I like that. The other piece I want to mention next is another earth card is boundaries. I mentioned earlier that the South is this place where boundaries, containers, it's the time of summer, and it's a time of it's good to have good boundaries. And I look at boundaries as I continue to understand them and work on them, is that they can create a container for your garden. It's like the fence around the garden to keep the weeds out or to keep and put a weed barrier in. But it's also just having clarity, not of just what you don't want, you want to stay away from, but just flip that over and say, what do you do want? What do you want to lean into for yourself and say, this is a yes. This is a yes of how I feel. This is a yes of what I want to create. This is a yes. And the things that don't align with the yes naturally fall away. I've looked at it both ways, like, what don't I want? And that usually happens when I've gone through a difficult situation where I don't want that anymore. And it's like, what if you look at it and you flip it around, you make the list of this is what I want, and this aligns with how to get there, and this is supportive. So look at your boundaries as everything that supports your hopes and dreams and your happiness. And so this being in the outcome tells me we're going to come through a time as we meet our challenges, we trim the things away that don't work, we bring in more of what we love, more of our light, return home to ourselves, is that we're naturally going to have a better container for our hopes and dreams to manifest, for us to live in greater harmony. Now I've got an interesting card in the outcome next to these two, and it's the denial card. It's in the seas. It's the 7 of Seas, and it's this woman in this night boat in a swamp with these 7 snakes around her, and it's at dusk, and she looks like she's in a trance. And with that being in the outcome, does it mean, well, this next month we're just going to move into denial? Well, you could, if you don't want to do the work, you could be emotionally denied of your true emotional fulfillment. But when I look at the other cards, it tells me this is what is up for you to heal, for us to heal, is any place where we have been in the dark, where we haven't been in integrity or happiness, is to mine out the emotional denial that we've had, to deny ourselves of happiness, to deny ourselves of harmony, to deny ourselves of our dreams. That is totally up for us to face and to heal. This is interesting. This is the only water card or the emotional card, the C's, in the spread. It's in the outcome. So this is like, pay attention. You have the opportunity to work on this next month by being in the light, by purifying yourself, by cutting away the cords that don't support you, by being authentic and expressing yourself, by coming into wisdom, by letting go and surrendering the things that are in form that don't work, and having faith that you can create with greater integrity, is that the emotional piece is going to come into a place where the denial can be embraced with compassion, light, and love, so that this is up to heal. And if you want to look at it, well, what if I don't get all that taken care of through this month? Well, then, in it being in the outcome, it tells me that it's come to light. So you truly can tend to all the places emotionally where you haven't been happy or you've stuffed everything down. That by the end of this month, it's going to be up so you can really compassionately illuminate this part of your heart and all of your body and all of your life so that you can heal emotionally, and let that be something of great compassion and purification so that you can come back in harmony. And this is something that's not only personal, but look at this. Every message that I've gotten with the cards today, look at this collectively. Humanity needs to heal all the ways that we've emotionally suffered and denied ourselves. Push down our ability to be equal. Push down our ability. We're screaming from the rooftops, every one of us, no matter what our perspective is. Emotionally, it's up for us to tend to the places that were denied, from birth to current time to possibly other lifetimes and experiences. And for our ancestors, for everyone who's come before us who have suffered, that emotional energy and pattern is up to be purified so that we can truly do some major healing and start to walk in greater peace upon this planet with ourselves, and then the ability to come to one another in a greater trust that we're safe to be ourselves and that we can love each other. So I hope this reading helps you and that it sheds some light on possibility for the month, as well as a bigger picture for your personal healing and illumination, and how you can come into the world in greater harmony and peace, that we can heal with each other. That this is, not about getting rid of people or getting rid of jobs or getting rid of stuff. This is about coming into harmony. This is about purification of our hearts, that we can look at each other and truly love each other no matter what hardships we've gone through, that we can let them go, that we can learn from them and take the gold from them, but then we can show up and look at each other in the eyes and truly care and love ourselves and love each other and know that we are in this together no matter our challenges. That's where the greatest gold comes from. So for all of you, I love you and I thank you. Thanks for showing up in this journey. It's quite an alchemizing time. May you be lifted up in the light, no matter the challenges you've gone through. May this lift up all your relations. May this lift up all your work in the world. May this lift up all of Mother Earth and all of the spirits who are here to help us, that we truly return to a place of peace within ourselves and create that on earth together. Aha.